Alright, I'm here today installing these cooler chocks from Specialty Marine. Got them in. Here's how they come without any bungees in them. You get the bungee cords, pack of bungee cords, 2 S-hooks, 6 stainless steel screws, and I got the ones that came pre-varnished with 5 coats of varnish. So when you get them, you get two of these pieces of wood, and what you're going to want to do is put the bungee cords through this small hole on the side. It goes through this small hole on the side and goes into this larger hole on the bottom, comes out, you pull it through and you tie it. I would point out that you're just going to tie one little knot in there. It's not too difficult. Push them through that side hole. Alright, so once you get it through this side hole here, you'll pull it out the back. Then you're just going to tie one loop. You can pull it through. Just going to tie one loop. Just like that. Just enough. You want to leave as much as possible on. You're going to pull it tight, kind of like this. Alright, you don't want this to stick out far at all because you're going to need as much of that slack as possible. So you need to push it back in there, but you need enough to where it's not going to come out. And then you're just going to pull it back through. And this is what seems a little difficult. For this to be long enough to actually attach to your cooler and hold it down, you need to really pull on this bungee. Pull tight. It'll make that knot really tight. And then you'll do the other side. And the way this works is they give you two S-hooks, and those S-hooks are going to hook on the side of your cooler. You've got a little. These igloo coolers have built in a little spot to put those hooks on. Now, it comes with 2 of these S-hooks on each side, both open like that. And I decided that I wanted to go ahead and crimp this down so that it doesn't come off. So if you're not using your cooler, these hooks you might easily come off and lose them. You may not want to crimp them on if you're not using your cooler, because then it's flopping around and it might get in your way. So that's up to you whether you want to crimp this down so that it can't come off the bungee, or whether you want to be able to leave it open to where you can take it on and off the bungee, depending on if you have the cooler in there or not. So we've got one side in, you've got the knot in there, got it pulled tight. We're going to go ahead and work this through the other side. It can be a little difficult. I was able to get it in, just a little bit of pressure and twist it a little bit as you go in. This side's a little more difficult to tie because you've already got this in there, so you don't have quite as much slack. But the same thing, pull it kind of tight, get this bungee, you're going to stick it through, pull that just enough through so that it's sticking through. You might need to push it back in just a little bit. And then you're going to pull this back into that hole. You're going to give it another really good tug, really about as tight as you can. I was going to point that out earlier. If you don't leave enough of that tail on there, it'll do exactly that. It'll pull out. So let's try this again. It's also possible, these bungees come with a little bit of the plastic where they've melted the end so they don't fray, and that acts as kind of a bulbous part so that it doesn't pull through. This one didn't get melted a whole bunch, so it's kind of smooth on the end. So if this pulls through again, if it doesn't hold, then we'll get a lighter or some sort of flame and melt the end of that a little bit so that it doesn't pull through. So this I got a little too much. I'll push this back through a little bit, pull on it. Alright, let's see if that'll hold this time. think that'll hold. Okay, so now I've got 2 chocks, bungees installed, knots on them. In my case, I went ahead and crimped the S-hook so they can't come off, but they're still loose enough where they can slide around. All right, next thing you want to do is position these in the right spot. What I recommend is get your cooler exactly where you want to get the cooler. One side note, I think people have done this different ways. I like to install the cooler where I actually have it, the hinges facing the front of the boat, facing away from the console, and then it opened from the front. When that happens, nothing hits these cushions. If you did it the other way, if you opened it from the front and went back, this cushion's going to want to hit this, and it's not going to want to open all the way. So you'd have to have the cooler forward more. You don't have as much space in front of your cooler. So I like to flip it around the other way, so it opens from this side, so you don't have to worry about it hitting. When it opens up, it doesn't have to hit these cushions at all. That allows me to have the cooler a little farther back. So get your cooler exactly where you want, and then you can place these around the cooler. The way these work, the bungee is going to go away from the cooler, and this big part is going to go in the front. So it kind of sets it from going backwards. So place it down. I'm going to tilt the camera down a little bit so you can see. Place your chalk. When you place your chalk down here, you want to leave just a little bit of space, not super tight, just a tiny bit of space, maybe just like an 1/8 of an inch or something, just so that you have enough room for that cooler to go in and out. I'll place mine on the other side as well. Leave just a little bit of a room. Once you get your chocks in the right place, then we're going to take your drill. It comes with these six stainless steel screws, 1/8 inch drill bit. You're just going to drill a pilot hole through each of those 3 holes down into your deck. Make sure, of course, if you're drilling into your deck, you know where all of your, if there's anything below it, whether it's gas tank or hoses or fuel lines. I've got a 3/4 inch deck underneath here. These screws, by the time they go through that, will be about that amount. So total, I'm going to go down about 1 inch through the top of my wood, and that'll be fine. So cooler's in the right spot. Double check to make sure your chalk is where you want it to be. Hold it down. All right, we'll do the other side. All right, now that we've got that done, you switch over to your Phillips bit. I would say these screws, they have a large Phillips opening on the end. So you want to use like a number 3 Phillips. The largest Phillips that you can use. If you use like a medium or small size Phillips, it's going to be real easy for that to strip out. So the largest Phillips, you see here, the head on this, when you've got the largest Phillips, it goes in there. It's a real nice snug fit, doesn't move around. That'll help you keep from stripping it out. Now the other thing you want to do is you want to put a little bit of sealant. At least for my boat, where I'm putting this, put a little bit of sealant on the holes in your deck. And that way, you don't get any water intrusion into your deck. I'm going to go ahead and, it's easy if you go ahead and put these screws in here so you can place them in the right spot since you got that sealant in there. Just have them sticking out just a bit so you can see where they go. I would say when it comes to sealant, this is not what you do not want to use 3M's 5200 on anything like this, bedding hardware. That's a permanent bond. Something like this, you always want this to, we're looking for something that can seal, not really be an adhesive. If you want to take it up, you don't want it to be completely horrible to get up. All right. Got all my holes lined up. I'm going to back the screws out so that it'll set down. Now that I've got them in the right spot, I'll back the screws out so it'll sit down nice and flush. All right, now that I've got it sitting down nice and flush, Alright, that's nice and solid. Come back over the other side. Drag this cooler a little bit out of the way. Alright, wipe that off, get any dirt off of there. Come back in, put my little bead of sealant. This can be some sort of silicone. I'm using Total Boat marine sealant. You can use something like Life Caulk, but I would avoid anything that has to do with the 5200 and even 4200 for something like this. All right, so I've got this here. Go ahead and get my screws through, so we can make sure we get them lined up in the right spot. All right, got that. This up. All right, got them all in the right holes. We'll back the screws back out so they will sit down nice and flush. There it is. All right, you've got that down nice and tight. Bring our cooler back over, see if it fits in there. It fits in there nice and well. So there you have it. There's how you install the cooler chocks.